What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to do a quick video lesson on earnings winners and my process of how I break them down and see if it's going to be a trade or a ticker that'll make my watch list. The stock today we're going to look at is ONCT Biotech. And as you know, today, the 10th, it's been running for a few days. And let's see how I would have broken it down on its first day it ran up. So here I have the chart. I put these lines here to represent pre-market so we can get an understanding of the gap up that it had in the morning. So before I would actually even take a look at that, I would head over to the daily chart and I'd zoom out to get a better understanding of the company. And if you see, it's not pretty. Zoom in a bit. Couple days that it ran on some volume. One and doneers. 4 million. 7 million. No follow through. Massive gap down here. So this right here would be a major concern for me. And I'd like to look into the SEC filings and see what exactly that was. We also see a couple splits here. So that's not going to represent the accurate price here. It didn't actually trade at $180. You can see here there's another reverse stock split. So I like to zoom out and really get a good understanding of what the stock looks like. Let's go back to this gap down day and let's get the date. So September 21st, 2018. Now if we go over to the SEC filings, and I'll post this link in the description. We're going to type the ticker name in here, ONCT. And I want to go to the date, September 21st, 2018. Right here. So there's an 8K. So if we look, we'll see on September 2018, ONCT had phase 2 news. And it looks like it wasn't very good news. So that's pretty important to know, that this biotech has a history of underperforming, and it's shown here in the chart. So when I see that, I just think for my trade, still possibility to take a trade, just a lot shorter term of a trade. So I'm also going to go back to the SEC filings after looking at that, and I want to take a look at their most recent filing, quarterly filing. Quarterly report, 10Q. And here I just want to take a look at the shares outstanding, 22 million. And I want to compare that to their previous one right here, which was back in August. And you see here they have 19.9. So you have a little over 2 million shares that they've diluted. It's not good. Let's see if we can get a better understanding of where those shares are. and at what price. So if we come here, we see a 424B offering. If we click that, there we go, 1.1 million. That fills the gap at $2.10 a share. So if I'm seeing this in the morning, that's a key level for me to look at, to either use as a risk level, support level, or a resistance level, depending on how the price action is. So if we're going to look back, I want to check out the float. You can use FinViz for that. 11 million float. And keep an eye on the market cap of 97 million, which is right in that ballpark of what I like. So let's head over to the chart. And like I said, I don't have the pre-market here, but this is a good understanding of what it would look like to get the levels that I look at. So when I'm checking out the pre-market levels, I want two levels. I want the high and I want the low. So I'm going to mark the high here. Let's just say pre-market it was 190. And let's say the low was $1.78. So those are two key levels that I'd like to keep an eye on. And as we go to the market open, we'll see we got a straight shot up off this level. A little bit of a chase. Knowing that we do have 2 million shares here at 210, 205-ish area, I'll keep that marked. And as we go forward, we'll see we got a big spike off the morning. And still here, I'm not looking to take a position yet. I'm not going to chase this run up. But as we get closer to here, you see that we start to dip. And in the morning time, we looked at the SEC filings and we saw that this 210 level had 2 million shares there. So this is a key level here that I personally would look to risk off of. So you could potentially get in on this dip here around 220, 215, risking 210 or even the previous dip low of 206. This would be a nice quick morning trade that you could look to take. Target 15, 20 cents, or even the high of day. So if we mark that here, target would be somewhere around the 245 area. And that would be a really good trade, risk reward wise. Emotions in check. Not overextended. And you could play this with some size. So if we look at what happened, we broke right through that morning high, continued with some momentum. And this is what I preach a lot. Smart money sells when dumb money buys. If you're not selling into this spike, you need to continue your studies, because that's free money right there. You're talking a 6-minute, 5-minute trade, and you're up, 50 cents. So as we continue, we even get more of a push here. If you held a couple more minutes into this parabolic, you were rewarded pretty well. So as we continue here, I would probably sell my first trade up into this pull push. Knowing that I do take profits pretty early, I probably would capture in this 270s area, depending on how many shares I took here. You know, if I took less shares, I'd probably let it ride a little more. If I took more, probably take it off sooner. So as we start to get crazy here with this channel, you see we start to pull back here. And at this point, I'm going to adjust my levels here. Pre-market levels are no longer as important since we've blasted past them. So I'm going to move there. I'm going to hold this previous dip here that we held, but I'm going to keep these two levels. And this is where you can also look to take another position here in this dip. You could either risk this 245 area or this previous dip here at 263. Ride it out. Obviously, target would be around 350. And as we continue here, you see it's grinding, grinding, grinding. Here we put in a higher low, and we get that parabolic push through hive day. Again, parabolics like this, take profit because you don't know. Two candles later, you're back down to where it started, and you're gonna feel like shit. So when we get to this point, we're gonna adjust this level here. We're gonna move this to the high day, and we're gonna move this here to the previous low. Could also use this previous low at 274, but we'll just keep it like that. As the day continues, we hit 11 o'clock here. This is about the time where I usually end my trades. Volatility usually dips down, dies. Volume starts to slow up. But if you're continuing looking, there is still trade. See here we get this big fade off the morning high. But it's hovering above $3, and you have two pretty decent risk levels you can risk off of. Could look to take a position here, risking 280s, 260s. See here, gets a little bit of a crack here. Looks to be holding, looks to be holding. Again here, this is that double bottom area. A little bit of a grind, a little bit of a grind. So now you see we're topping here off at the 320s. So I'm going to mark this. As you can see throughout the day, I'm marking different key levels that I see. For everyone, they're going to be different. So for me, this 320s area is a key level. As we start to pull back more, you can see we're still holding this morning level here, which again, you could take a position here with a tight risk. Target would probably be first half 320s, potential high day. As we go on towards 1 o'clock, we start to get a push, and we get a big push forward, testing that high of day. Again, parabolic spike, you want to take profits here. Nerves are going to be relaxed. You have tight wrists, nothing to worry about. Take your profit. Trust me, take your profit. It gets crazy up in here. As you can see, minute candles going 20, 30 cents. Emotions are hard to hold through that. It's better just to sell it while it's going parabolic. Gets a bit crazy. And like most parabolics, you start to get a fade right after. Now, as you can see, we this resistance level back in the 320s, back at 11, turned into support here. So you had the big parabolic fade to support, and another rip on major volume, and we're testing high days. Topping out in this area, again, big parabolic, take profit. Big fade off this. Broke through support level. And we close. that was a pretty quick rundown of how I would go through the first day of a green day earnings winter. Again, recap. You want to look at the daily chart, analyze the volume, analyze splits, analyze any major cracks, gap downs, check the SEC filings, find out what the news was, find out the catalyst for the day, look at the shares outstanding, do all that work. You're going to have so much more confidence in your trade knowing that you know that information. And I can't stress that enough. Throughout the day, point out key levels, stick to those key levels. If your support levels crack, cut the trade, and just breathe throughout. And if you guys have any questions on this, leave them below. I'll put the links to the websites that I used here. All of them are free. And I will see you next time. Take it easy.